Hi, I'm Granny B of Granny B Crochets, and let's talk travel. My husband and I are retired now, so we love to travel. And this particular vacation, we went to see the eclipse in southwest Indiana at Harmony State Park. And my daughter lives in Kentucky, not too far from there. So after the eclipse, which her family joined us for, we came to her house to spend some time with her. So right now I'm in my fifth wheel. Because this was a rather long cross-country trip from Idaho, and we weren't doing any sightseeing on the way, so it was straight driving, I needed crocheting to keep me entertained. So let's talk traveling. First, let's talk what everybody really wants to know is, what if I'm flying? So things are better than they used to be. The last time I flew, you couldn't take a crochet hook on the plane, but the simple answer is yes, you can. However, there's a lot of ifs and maybes, and the bottom line is the TSA agent has the last say. So some things to think about. They do want you to keep it in some kind of a hard-sided container. So if you have a bag like this, or even the $1 pencil boxes from Walmart to put your crochet hooks and scissors and supplies in, that's a good idea. Second, when it comes to the crochet hook, if you pick up a plastic or wooden crochet hook rather than a metal one, you have a better chance of it being approved and going through. This little hook, $2 from Hobby Lobby if you have one near you. I've used it many times. It works great. And if they confiscate it or you lose it, you're only out $2. And I always pack extra hooks in my luggage just for those kind of situations. When it comes to the scissors, they need to be small. So they need to have no more than 4 inches from where it hinges to the tip. I have a little pair right here. So no bigger than this. The measurement starts right here where it hinges and goes to the tip. These are kind of sharp. I have some that I picked up at the Dollar Tree that are actually kids scissors, so the tip is curved, and that is really what is recommended to take. And they cost me 2 pair for $1. They cut yarn just fine, and they have that little, just a bit of a curve at the tip, so they're not quite so sharp. So if you can get a pair of scissors that are curved at the tip, this is going to be even better. Or you can get one of those pendant yarn cutters that have no exposed sharpness because you go into the slats to cut your yarn. You could also take a needle. Yarn needles are nice, but a plastic yarn needle is a better idea to take if you're going to be on the plane and working with it, because again, it's plastic and not metal, makes the TSA agent happier. I do recommend if you take your stuff on the plane, you have backup spares in your luggage of whatever you take, because it could be confiscated or you could lose it. It's not that hard to do. And then when you get to your destination, you don't have things to crochet with. And speaking of backup spares, I always take a backup spares when I travel. So I have a small crochet bag. Let me get it for you. It was a gift from my son, and over here, it has a spot where you can put all your crochet hooks and notions, and it has enough room inside for a couple balls of yarn, and there's some more pockets, and it zips closed, which I like. And it even has these little holes right here if you want to run your yarn through that while you're crocheting to keep it even more enclosed in the bag. This is my mini travel bag, and it has one of everything I need, including my stress ball for when we go around those curvy mountain roads trying to get out of Idaho. Here's a pair of those scissors I was telling you about. They're just a little curved on the end, make the TSA agents a little bit happier. So I have one of everything in this bag, that just in case I lose something along the way, or I start the project and the hook size I have is not going to work for what I want to do. I need to change hook sizes. I didn't bring them, or they're packed in the RV, whatever. This is typically up front with me, so everything I need is going to be right there. So now let's talk packing our projects. First of all, what should you take and how much should you take? So I will tell you, first of all, depends on how much you're going to crochet, is how much you take. When we travel through Wyoming and Nebraska, which we've done so many times, it is no longer exciting. I do a lot of crocheting. But the most, I'm not the world's fastest crocheter, but I'm not that slow. And the most yarn I have ever used during one of those days is about 6 ounces, or one large skein of like Super Saver or Big Twist. So really, you can max think, all right, I'm going to be on the road 5 days total. If I crocheted nonstop every day, the most I'm going to need is 5 6-ounce balls of yarn, or 30 ounces. So that's going to help you pick your projects just to start with. How much do I need? And that's really probably the most you're going to spend, like I said, is about 6 ounces per day maximum. And that's if nothing happens except you sit and crochet. And we all know it doesn't happen when we travel. You're going to stop, you're going to sightsee. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. The things are going to go on that's going to interrupt that crocheting. You're going to pass something cool on the side of the road. You don't want to crochet. You want to watch the scenery that's going on. So the idea of you using more than that, pretty slim, unless you're like a super fast crocheter and go through a lot of yarn, which is not most of us. So that's okay. The second thing I do when I get ready to pack is I try to pick projects that do not take a lot of different colors of yarn. So 2 balls max, really. One of the ways I get around this is I use a lot of self-striping yarn. I love self-striping yarn. All those different colors, no yarn, no ends to tie, and only 1 ball of yarn to take at a time. So like on this trip, I made a hexagon cardigan. And here, this is, kind of give you an idea what it looks like. It was a self-striping red, white, and blue yarn. So I did not have to do anything but sit and crochet. The balls are from Hershner's. They're 8-ounce balls of yarn. So I took 1 ball with me in my little bag up to the front of the truck to crochet on while we traveled. And then each day as we started again, I would replenish that ball as needed. So that's something you want to think about when you're traveling. You need to keep it simple because you have limited space, and the more you're changing colors, the more you have to bring, the more ends you have to tie, the more things you have to cut, that kind of stuff. It makes it a little more difficult. Not impossible. I have done multicolored projects. I made my granddaughter a blanket one time traveling out here, and it was multicolor. It had a lot of different colors in it, and I have bigger bags. I have lots of different bags. So I just had a bigger bag with all the balls of yarn in it, and I did that. And I'll show you my setup in the truck in a few minutes. And because of the way I have things set up in the truck, it was very easy for me to change colors and tie my knots and everything. So it worked out okay. But it's not really my favorite thing to do while I'm traveling. I much prefer 1 or 2 skeins maximum as I go. So the second thing as you're picking out your projects, if you're flying, keep it small. It's a good time to make hats, scarves, dishcloths, dish towels, that kind of thing. Smaller gifts that don't take a lot of different colors, that are pretty easy to think about. That's your best bet on an airplane. But as I travel, if I'm going to be out several days crocheting, I get bored. So I also keep a variety. I have small projects and I have big projects, so that I can trade them up depending on how I'm feeling or what's going on, or just I'm so tired of red, white, and blue, I got to look at a different color for a while. I'm going to get out this green thing I'm making and work on it instead. So I do keep a variety of bigger projects and smaller projects. So now we've picked out our projects. I've got my sweater. I've got some doll clothes I'm going to make, and each little doll clothes item just takes 1 color of yarn. So I'm taking some of those. I have a project I'm making for my daughter that takes just solid green in a circle for a while, and then I applique stuff on it. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take a couple sweaters because this is a long trip. We are traveling several days between Idaho and Kentucky. And then, of course, we're going to go back. And then we're going to be here for a while. And so, and because I'm on Idaho time, I'm not ready for bed when they all go to bed. So I'm up for a couple more hours. Gives me something to do after everybody goes to bed. So I needed a variety of projects, and I have big ones and small ones. I have a couple of, I brought like 3 sweaters. Fell in love with some yarn while I was traveling. It happens. So I now have 4 sweaters. So there's your setup. So how do we package these? This is my favorite way to package my projects. It's these bags, such as this, or such as the little one I just showed you. The biggest thing I like, and is most important to me, is whatever bag you choose, that it zips up. It doesn't even have to be a perfect zip. There's openings here, which is handy. You can let the yarn come through that. But it is so easy to get things knocked over. So if I have this in the truck and it's zipped up, which is the way I should have it, and my yarn's coming out this end while I'm crocheting, and I climb out and my foot catches in the handle and dumps the whole thing over, I'm not losing all of my projects onto the floor of the truck, or worse, onto the pavement outside, or mud or dirt, or depending on where you're at. Just a few minutes ago, I was parked next to a very marshy place, opened my truck, something fell out. Now I have a shirt to wash. So, Christy, those bags look so expensive. Granny B, how? So, Granny B, those bags look so expensive. How can you afford all that? I cannot afford all that. Well, here's my little secret. Thrift stores. Love them. Love them. All of the bags I have, except this one right here, and this one right here, I purchased at a thrift store. This one I got from Walmart. I love it. I have 2 of them, and I use them for all kinds of things around home. For one thing, I DoorDash, so they're good for that. I also do family history. When I do that, my book goes in here, my pens and things go in here, and that's what I love about it. It's 2-sided. So it still zips up, but it has this big compartment here where I can put my yarn and things, and then it has this small compartment over here where I can put all my essentials. I typically keep my essentials in some kind of little Ziploc bag, and it pops in like that, and I'm ready to go. So this one was expensive because I bought it brand new, but it is one I like for that. If you are crunched for time before your trip, or you're just not having any luck at the thrift stores, another inexpensive zippered bag that is insulated that I like, you can pick up at your local grocery store. Walmart carries them. Almost everybody carries them. It's insulated. It's got a handle. It zips closed. You throw your little bag in there. You're ready to go. So I think I paid $2 for this one. I think the most expensive one I've seen was $5, but most of them are just $2 or $3. Another thing that I like in a bag when I can find it is a shoulder strap. Especially when we're staying in hotels, because I've got my crochet bag I want to carry in, I've got my luggage I want to carry in, and although my husband does most of the packing in, because it's my job to make sure the heat's on and set up the room and take care of the dog, there's still stuff I need to carry as well. So if I can find a bag with a shoulder bag, that's a plus. It definitely goes home with me. All the other bags I have, and I have quite a few, I bought at the thrift stores. My favorite thrift stores are right here in Louisville. They're called the Goodwill. They have a bunch of them, and I find so many good things, especially since my daughter lives and works on what's called the East End of Louisville. It's a little higher middle class and high class around in this area, so the Goodwills have a much higher quality of donations. So fun. So this bag, picked up at the Goodwill. I have a couple others. This one, I like it. I found this at a thrift store. It's just a big square bag. I think it was an originally used, I'm not sure, it's got a B on it. I think it was originally used maybe Maybe it was some kind of delivery bag. It's insulated. I do like it when they're insulated because a lot of my things, if we're not pulling the fifth wheel, end up in the back of the pickup truck. So a little bit extra between my stuff in the back of the pickup, even though it does have a cover. That's just nice. So it zips up and it opens up, and I have several projects in this one. But it's just got a big open space, so I can just put my yarn in there, put my project in there, and it's ready to go. Found it for like $2 at a thrift store. Got a couple of these. You can actually buy something really similar at some grocery stores. They're insulated and made to, you know, put your groceries in, and they still don't cost very much. This is an extra nice one, so I really like it. Okay, let me get another one that is one of my favorites. This one I found at a Goodwill here, and it is actually an insulated carrier for like drinks and things. So it is super insulated. I love how long it is. It holds 8 balls of 8-ounce yarn with no problem. So I like that. And it is insulated because it's meant to be used as a cooler. You know, it will, you can put drinks in here, fill it up with ice, and it works just fine. It also has this cute little pocket on the front, which comes in handy. It unzips, and I throw my crochet tools in there. So it's one of my favorites because it does hold a lot, but also because it's skinny, I can wedge it in the floorboard of the front seat and still get my feet next to it because it's long and skinny this way. It's a little harder to do with the square one. I don't usually use the square one in the truck. I usually take things out of it and use a smaller bag. So this is the kind of the idea what you're looking for. I recommend things that zip closed, and I recommend that they are, obviously not all of them are going to be waterproof, but just a little water resistant, so that if it does fall out of your vehicle onto the, you know, and it's raining, anything like that, it's going to be protecting the things inside. So those are some of my bags, and I put each of my projects in a bag. So after I figure out how many projects I'm going to need for the trip, I pull out that many bags, go through my stash, put a project in each bag. I have a lot of room when I travel, so I prefer one bag for each project. But if you don't have a lot of room, hey, double up. The big black one, it's got several small projects in it, little bitty ones. Just put them all in there because, like I said, I don't like to use that one up front. So I stored them in that. I can throw it in the back of the truck, open it up, pull out one small project, take it up front with me, that kind of thing. Now, Granny Bee, what do I do with my notions? All right, there are two things. One, you can get something with pockets and put them in the pockets, such as the bag my son got me. It's already ready-made. Put them right in there. But not all the bags I got have pockets, or a lot of the bags are like this one, where the pockets are all on the outside. Now, this is really neat. I'm not going to lie. I do like all these pockets, but if you're in a situation like I am, where the bag gets dumped over a lot, they're not going to work very well. All your tools are going to fall out. So what I do, and that's the way most of my bags are. So what I do in that case is I put everything I'm going to need for that particular project in some kind of smaller bag or pouch. And you can find these anywhere. They range from fancy and expensive, such as this one, that, you know, it zips open. It has hooks on both sides. There's pockets for all your stuff. I got it on Amazon. I want to say it was maybe $12. I don't know. You know, a little bit pricey. And they had even more expensive ones. And you can invest in something like that if you want. This is one that I got. Well, I didn't get. My grandchildren, two of my granddaughters, made me crochet bags for Christmas one year, and they got me these really nice little $5 bags from Hobby Lobby. All the bags I like to use zip across the top. I don't want to lose my stuff while I'm traveling, and so zippers are very important to me. What I put in my bag for the project, this is a little earbud case. It's great for stitch markers. ready to go. I also include something to measure with, whether it's a retractable measuring tape. You can find these kind of tapes at Walmart for a couple dollars, or even just a small ruler. So you want something to measure with. You want this. You're going to need some place to put your yarn needles. Now you can put it in this case. This case is big enough for my yarn needles. But I crocheted myself a little circle, and I put my yarn needles in that. And I do typically carry metal ones as well, but that's what I put in this particular bag. And of course, your pair of scissors and your crochet hooks. And so you put everything you need for that project in the bag, and then you zip it up. Okay, but there is a slight problem. There is a slight problem with that. What if you need this hook for everything you're going to work on? Because, you know, I love worsted weight yarn. I use my 5.5 millimeter for everything. And I do own more than one, but not enough to put in every project, especially on a long trip like this, where I've brought a lot of projects. So what I do instead is I just put a note in the bag of some kind, scrap paper, whatever, of what size hook goes with that project, so that you know which one you need to get when you're ready to work on it. If you have enough hooks to put one in all of them, or you use a lot of different types of yarn, then just throw your hook in the bag. So that's that one. And they bought all the little things in there from Hobby Lobby to put in for me, which is really cute. So this one I got also at Hobby Lobby, actually. A little bit cheaper than that, but you know, it's cute. It zips. You can also buy something similar to this at Walmart for about $2. It's not cute. It's in the cosmetics department. Or, and this is really one of my favorites, quart-size freezer bags. Yeah, the quart-size freezer bags are pretty sturdy. And they zip closed, of course. And you can buy the little more expensive ones if you want that zip. These are the Walmart brand, $2 at Walmart. They open up and your supplies fit in there. And you can drop in what you want for that project, and you zip it up and you drop it in the bag. 25 of them for $2. You can go through a lot of projects. And the best part is you can write on it. So you can write what size hook you're using, or maybe what pattern you're going to make if you haven't got it included in your bag. Because I know a lot of people use patterns right offline, or I get a lot of mine off of YouTube. I'm not going to be carrying it with me because I'm going to be watching the woman doing it. So I will, you can write that on here as well. So super cheap, still sturdy, convenient. You can write on it. I love these for packing up my stuff. So that covers that. So this is my little setup in the truck. Down here, with enough room for my legs, I have my work bag. I try not to use more than 2 colors at a time. In this case, though, I'm using one of these cakes that has different colors in it, and just white yarn. So I'm really only using 2 colors. My snacks are tucked right in there. This hook, it's one of those command hooks. Now, if you're going to do this, it's important to get the kind of command hook that is indoor, outdoor, and weatherproof, because my first one was not. And the cab of my truck got really, really hot, and there was some weight in my trash bag, and it slid down and came off with this sticky, gooey mess that I had to clean off. This one has been serving me well ever since. So I put this hook on there, put Walmart trash bag on it for little trashes we gather along the way, and my yarn ends if I have to trim a knot or weave something in. My cup holder, of course. Now over here, I have this thing I bought from Amazon. Now it's a little pricey because you have to buy 2 of them for $22. But it attaches to your seat belt. And it's a little arm, and it comes out with this cup holder. And I'll be real honest, that cup holder only holds a can of Coke. It doesn't hold any other kind of cup. But that's not what I bought it for, so it was okay. If I was really diligent, when I stopped at a rest stop, I would take my crochet hook and put it in a safe place, like a pocket of my bag. But I had a tendency to just put it with my crocheting on top of the bag, hop out, would come back in, the hook would fall off, roll under the seat, and I couldn't find it. Sometimes it even fell out of the truck. So I developed this little cup. I started with a cup of my cup holder, but I need it for my drink. So I got this with this little cup. And so now when I stop at a rest stop, my scissors are already in there. I drop my hook in, put my crocheting on top of the bag, and hop out. And when I come back, it's still there. While you're traveling, the scissors are handy but safe. If you need to, you can even drop some stitch markers or a yarn needle down inside it as well, if you're like me and weave in your ends as you go. Although I try to avoid projects with lots of ends while I'm traveling, I'll be honest. So those are my tips and tricks for traveling. I hope you found something you can use. In the meantime, as I used to say on a program from my childhood, happy trails. As I was taping this, my dog jumped into his seat and he's refusing to get out because he wants to go for a ride.